All that to say, if you're going to pick a market, the few things that I look for most, one is population growth. If it's, I want to see like trending around 1% up every year, if not more, for the last few years. You find a market like Northwest Arkansas that's almost doubled in population in the last decade, and I'll take that over somewhere like Detroit, which is a much bigger market, but has just done this for the last 2 decades. Next factor, and this kind of coincides with Detroit as well, is economic and diversity. So I don't want to see like Detroit. I mean, I don't know enough about their economy, but a lot of people use them as an example. Their biggest thing was the auto industry. And when some of those places moved or whatever, it saw a decline. And I'm sure there's a lot of other factors. It's not that simple, but I like to see, so like Springfield they have Bass Pro Shops is headquartered there. O'Reilly, 3M has a manufacturing plant, Kraft Cheese, Prime Trucking. I don't know. There's a bunch of different, and then they have they have 3 colleges, 1 or 2 private, 1 Missouri State, and 2 major hospitals. So they've got a very large education, medical, economy, some manufacturing, some logistics, a little bit of, recreational, auto industry. They've got a little bit of everything. And so I want to look at not necessarily how much the economy is growing. That's important, and how much it brings in, and that's important, but diversity, knowing that, especially like right now, if the only industry in there was auto or was aviation, and that was the only industry, then my town would be hurting right now. But there's an airport. That's not a huge economic factor. That's a piece of the puzzle. And so if that tanks, whatever, the hospitals are doing great. So a little diversity there. And then the other thing that I tell people, and this is the biggest thing I can tell people, if you're looking for a real estate market, here's what people do. They look for the perfect market. They look for the perfect market. They look for the perfect market. They analyze, they look for the perfect market. They do it, and they get stuck in this rat race of what's the perfect market. Oh my gosh, I can't pick between these 3. Look, if you went across the nation and you went to citydata.org and pulled all this data, or wherever you want to do your research, and you narrowed it down to 5 or 10 markets, throw a freaking dart at the wall and go with one. Because if you narrowed it down to 5 markets out of the entire country, they're all great. Go with one. Just make a decision, and then after you master that one, move into another one if you want. My market, I love it, but the crime rate is ridiculously high compared to some other places. And if I had really analyzed deep into the weeds before choosing my market, that probably would have scared me off, because everybody says, "Oh no, crime." Pick the right neighborhood and avoid it, or just buy those cheap properties, knowing that you might have to deal with some crime, and help gentrify or whatever. Like, there's always going to be something wrong with a market if you look for it. So just freaking pick one and go with it.